Hello and welcome to Sports Mole's Football Shorts. I'm Barney Corkhill. I'm here with our football editor Matt Law, and we're here to discuss our Game Week 7 predictions for the Premier League season. Game Week 6 was as unpredictable as the rest of the season has been, but in the end I managed to claw back 2 points. There's now 8 points between us in the overall prediction competition. But let's get straight into Game Week 7, and we start tonight with a game between Wolves and Crystal Palace. How do you see that one going, Matt?
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? It's to start us off, obviously, two teams that have, had stages of the season. I think they've played quite well. Obviously, sitting 8th and 9th in the table. I always say that it's difficult to look at the table at this stage, isn't it? But it's obviously both teams have had, little stages, 3-1-2 in terms of, their records this season, 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats, which for Palace is pretty good. For Wolves, they've been a funny team, haven't they, early on? Some poor results, some pretty good ones. I was looking through the injuries for the whole Premier League earlier, and Wolves are in really good shape at the moment. Look at a lot of the clubs. Obviously, Palace have had loads and loads of problems. I think obviously they're going to have some key players back for this game. Notably Cahill. McCarthy might come back in. Got a little bit of a doubt about Mitchell at left back, but or AU's back as well. Obviously after coronavirus. So yeah. Palace are getting some players back. Wolves obviously only Johnny Otto, and they've got loads and loads of choices, haven't they, going forward? Obviously Jimenez, Podence up there. Neto, Adama Traore is not really getting starts at the moment. So much was spoken about him at the moment, but obviously quality in midfield. It's an interesting game, to start us off the Friday night game. You say under the lights of all the fans. Obviously the fans aren't there, but still, there's still something special about night games. There's a little bit different atmosphere with the players. Fancy Wolves here. I think Palace, they've been pretty good this season. Obviously Old Trafford was the one that sticks out. At Chelsea, pretty poor, but big win last time out. So just Wolves here, 2-1.
Yeah, I've also gone Wolves by 1 goal. I've gone 1-0. I think Wolves, their attacking threat seems to have gone a bit. You mentioned those attacking players they've got, and they've obviously got some really good players up there. Jimenez is, one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and Adama Traore, you mentioned, is unstoppable on his day, but isn't really starting matches at the moment. So, but I think they're only the bottom 3 has scored fewer goals than them this season, and they've only got 3 in the last 4 games. So their attacking threat has dried up a bit, but I see them having enough to win this game 1-0. I think Crystal Palace, they'll certainly be happier, both on 10 points. Crystal Palace actually above Wolves on goal difference at the moment, but I think Crystal Palace will certainly be happier with their start of the season, as you mentioned, than Wolves will. But they're 2 teams who pretty much encapsulate the unpredictable nature of the season so far. I think Wolves have had some good results and then had some really bad results. 4-0 against West Ham stands out as the really bad result, and Crystal Palace sort of similar. They've had some good results and some bad results so far. So it's an interesting game. The way the season's going, it's an unpredictable game. But yeah, I'm also going for Wolves win 1-0 in that one. Kicking off Saturday's action is Sheffield United versus Manchester City. Sheffield United still one of the winless teams left in the league this season. They really need a victory. 1 point from their opening 6 games. We mentioned second season syndrome pretty early on, but they're not doing anything to really dispel that at the moment. Ran Liverpool quite close last time out, but obviously this as hard a doubleheader as it gets in the Premier League, isn't it? Liverpool, then Man City. Man City, great Champions League win in midweek, wasn't it, against Marseille? They'll be favourites going into this one, but they've been very patchy in the Premier League really so far. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, you mean patchy probably at best, isn't it? Obviously 13th in the table at this stage. Obviously injuries in the final third. Looks like, will Sterling start through the middle? The West Ham game, obviously Aguero started, didn't he? Came off, Foden came on. Sterling sort of went through the middle, and will it be Mahrez, Sterling, Foden as a front 3? Obviously Bernardo Silva's not quite hit the heights as he is. He's such a good player, but he's not really been in there at the moment. Obviously apart from that, obviously Laporte came back, didn't he, in the Champions League? It could possibly be him and Diaz at the back. They're quite strong at the back at the moment, City. I think they're playing a lot better in there than they have earlier in the season. I think Diaz has helped them a lot. I think he's been a good signing back there. But yeah, going forward, you still would expect that they'd not have enough to win this game. I think Sheffield United, I think last season I picked Chris Wilder as the manager of the year, and it's because I think if the lockdown period didn't happen, I think they'd have finished top 6. Sheffield United, they were challenging, weren't they, for top 4 before that period, and that hurt them so bad. I mean, there were so many different facets to why that happened. The 5-sub rule. Quality of the other teams got a lot better after the lockdown period, and obviously finished 9th. I still think they had a great season, but yeah, 1 point from 6 games. Played pretty well at Arsenal, played quite well against Liverpool, but you just look at their team. You look at their team last season, you wonder where the goals and quality would come from. Obviously, John Lundstrom, the situation surrounding him is not ideal. He doesn't want to sign a new contract, so will he come out of the team for this game? He's such a good player, but clearly doesn't want to stay there. So, I think City need to win. Obviously, Guardiola doubt around his future. How they're going to finish in the league this season. But yeah, 2 good wins in the Champions League, and we'll be keen to get back to winning ways after the West Ham game. So I'll go on 2-0 City.
Yeah, I was close to going 2-0 City just because I went the same. Liverpool last week against Sheffield United 2-0. Sheffield United don't often get beaten by big scorelines, do they?
No.
And as we say, Man City have not been that impressive so far in the Premier League. 1-0 against West Ham last time out. So it was an interesting one, but I think I've got a feeling about Man City. I think they could score a few goals here. I've gone for 3-0 Man City. I wouldn't be surprised if Sheffield United make it a bit tougher, but they've only scored 3 goals so far this season. It's the joint worst attacking record in the league. So I can't really see them causing Man City's, as you say, improved defence, too many problems. So yeah, I've gone for Man City 3-0 in that one. Also on Saturday is Burnley versus Chelsea. Burnley, another one of those teams. There's 3 teams on 1 point from their opening game so far. Burnley do have a game in hand over those teams around them, having had their delayed start to the season. Chelsea, another one of these clubs who have had a very mixed start to the season. A lot of the top, the big 6, as they're so called, have had these mixed starts to the season. Chelsea certainly one of them. A 0-0 draw against Man United last time out in the Premier League, which wasn't exactly a thriller, but Chelsea probably would be the happier of the 2 teams to get that. Another clean sheet under their belt and another clean sheet in midweek as well in Russia, a big win over FC Krasnodar. So they'll be coming into it in more confident mood, I think. Certainly defensively, those were the big question marks over them. There was nothing wrong with their attacking instinct. I think they've just got to get that balance back of, threatening as much as they were in attack, but keeping things tighter at the back. And they haven't quite got that balance. They came close to it, obviously, in midweek. They took a step towards it by scoring 4 and conceding 0. But it'll be a big test to them against Burnley. Burnley, another one of those teams who don't often get beaten by much, but I think we've a few times mentioned we group them in the same category sort of as Sheffield United, don't we, this season, and that they had a great season last season, but we wouldn't expect them to do as well this time around and maybe be involved in a relegation battle. They need a win on the board, but it's hard to see them getting it against Chelsea, to be honest. I've gone for a narrow one, but I've gone for 1-0 Chelsea in this match.
Oh yeah, we've gone different again, slightly the same thinking. I've gone 2-1 Chelsea in the end. I just think, Chelsea are an interesting one. Obviously, Lampard has been, so keen to tighten up that defence, hasn't he? They shipped loads and loads of goals. The Sevilla game was a strange one. Both the teams had lots of the ball. The United one was, I suppose, on another day, if that penalty with Azpilicueta and Maguire, if that's given, that they win that 1-0 potentially. But saying that, United did have chances themselves. Not a bad result, I don't think, for both sides, to be honest, for either side. Obviously, Krasnodar, with respect, they're going to get beaten probably they're going to group by, probably all the teams. So I don't think you read too much into that. 4 goals away from home in Europe is pretty good, but, they're not coming up against, a fantastic side. So it's interesting to get that balance right in the Premier League between going forward and being tight at the back. Obviously, got a lot of good players, but I still think Lampard is still finding, ways to play. I think it's a very interesting period of the season, I think, for Chelsea. Obviously, the November international break kicks in, doesn't it? There's loads of Champions League games at the moment. They've got such a big squad, but obviously getting to most of their players back now and options all over the park. So it will be very, very interesting to see team selection again for this game for Lampard. But yeah, I've just gone Chelsea here. I think Burnley, I think when they've been in the Premier League for so long, I think you need to add quality, don't you, each year? You need to keep boosting your squad, because if your way of playing breaks down, you work hard. If that starts not working, you haven't really got anything to fall back on. And I think that's the problem for this season. I just don't think they've got many options to change it when they need to. So, yeah, Chelsea narrow 2-1.
Yeah, Burnley, they've probably lost more quality than they've added over the years, haven't they? Obviously, Sean Dyche has been vocal on that point. Rounding off Saturday's action is Liverpool versus West Ham. Liverpool have had their trouble so far this season in terms of injuries. Obviously, Fabinho injury in midweek has further limited their options at centre-back, which means Reece Williams might be needed if Joel Matip doesn't recover in time. So they're down to their 5th choice centre-back potentially for this match. But at the same time, they're still joint top of the table. They won in midweek. They've won all 3 games since Virgil van Dijk's injury. A 7-2 against Aston Villa obviously always stands out and will do, which means they've got the joint worst defensive record in the league, bizarrely, despite sitting joint top of the table. But their home record, you can't really look past that, can you? It's incredible. I think it's now 62 unbeaten at Anfield in the Premier League, which is incredible. And one more equals their club record, and they're not, they're closing in on Chelsea's, I think it's 85 match record or something. Is obviously a long way to go for that, but Liverpool Anfield's a fortress at the moment for them. Having said that, West Ham, they come into the match 12th in the table, but it feels better than that, doesn't it? They feel like they're in better form than that after playing really well against Man City, particularly in the first half of that game, getting a point against Man City, coming from 3-0 down against Tottenham before that, beat Leicester 3-0 at Leicester before that. They've beaten Wolves 4-0. They've had some great results this season against some big teams who they wouldn't be expected to beat. So Liverpool really do need to be wary of West Ham this weekend. I think they've got the tools. If you picture maybe Mikel Antonio running at Reece Williams, it won't fill Liverpool fans with optimism, really, that they can keep a clean sheet. Obviously, Alisson being back is huge for them in terms of keeping those clean sheets and making up for the loss of Van Dijk at the back. But I can see this being a tricky game for Liverpool. It's very hard to back against them at Anfield at the moment, but I certainly don't see it being an easy win for them. So I've gone for 2-1 to Liverpool in this one.
Yeah, I've gone 2-0 Liverpool in the end. I think obviously there's some reports late last night and this morning Antonio could potentially be out for 6 weeks of a hamstring, so he might not be fit for this game. Obviously, no confirmation yet from West Ham, but yeah, if he's out of this game, that's problems for West Ham because he's so important for the way they play, isn't he? You're talking about. I think the fact that it said a lot when he came off against Man City, they brought on Yarmolenko up front rather than Haller, because obviously David Moyes wants mobility, doesn't he, in the final third. I think that's why they were so keen to sign Josh King in the summer, because the way they play, they need that pace up front, that running ability, which obviously Haller doesn't give them. So I'll be very interested for that. Does he go Bowen through the middle, Yarmolenko, if Antonio doesn't play, which it doesn't look like he's going to. That'd obviously be huge for West Ham. Two good results, last two: City draw, Tottenham draw, obviously beating Leicester, but it's hard to go to Liverpool. I know obviously Liverpool got their problems, their defensive issues, but it's just really hard to back. In what scenario are we really going to back an away team to go to Anfield and pick up something? Listen, we'll play a few of the big teams coming up at home, and I'm sure there'll be a really big argument for Liverpool maybe getting beat or certainly taking points taken off them. But I'm just struggling to see West Ham in this game away from home. I think Liverpool got too much going forward. And I think they'll win 2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 for Matt in that match. Okay, moving on to Sundays, you got Aston Villa versus Southampton kicking things off. Aston Villa obviously had a great start to the season, but then were beaten 3-0 at home to Leeds last time out. Southampton, they'll also be really happy with the season. This is a really interesting match. They beat Everton, who were obviously one of the unbeaten teams before their 2-0 defeat to Southampton. So Everton and Aston Villa both sort of in the same category of having really good starts to the season, which Southampton are now looking to end. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I really, really do like Southampton. I think Hassan, who's a really, really good manager, I think he's a fantastic, fantastic coach, and I think they'll do well to keep him, in the years ahead, with respect to Southampton. Similar situation with Pochettino when he was there. You always felt that he might move on to, a bigger club. And I do get that feeling with him as well. I think the way he sets up his team, the way they work for him, the way they press the ball is very, very good. Obviously, the Tottenham game stands out, the way they got taken apart in that game, but since then won 3 of their last 4, obviously including a point at Chelsea, which was excellent. Yeah, Villa as well obviously added loads of quality over the summer and a lot better team, and I don't think they're going to be any sort of relegation battle this season. They'll be looking, could they finish just below mid-table somewhere like that? If they could push up to 12th, 13th, obviously Villa fans will be wanting more than that, but it's a long season, and obviously, it's going to be hard to finish in the top half of the table. If they did, that would be a fantastic season. So slightly sat on the fence here, to be honest. It's a tight game. I've gone 1-1.
Well, no, yeah, this was a difficult one to call, wasn't it? Because what you mentioned, Villa would have gone into the season hoping to avoid relegation, and we generally regard 40 points as usually probably more like 38 points, and they're almost a third of the way there already. Aston Villa, 12 points from 5 games. Incredible start to the season. Still got the best defensive record in the league as well, even after shipping 3 goals at Leeds last time out. So, yeah, they're a team who sort of have personified the strange start to the season. They've beaten Liverpool 7-2, but then lose at home to a newly promoted side, Leeds, 3-0. So it's difficult to really know what to expect from them, whether that Leeds result has just burst their bubble a bit and they sort of dropped their standards from the opening start to the season. But as you say, I think they've done great business, and they've actually got a really good team now. So they've got the quality. It's not like a bad team has gone on a good run and then suddenly might nosedive. I think they're a good team now. But like you, I'm a big fan of Southampton. I think they've got a really good team, and we seem to mention Danny Ings every week when he's getting the goals. He got 2 assists against Everton last time out as well to prove he's not just a goal scorer. When he's in that sort of form, you can always back Southampton to get at least a goal. And I'm actually backing them to win this one 1-0. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way, to be honest. But I think I've just got a feeling for Southampton scrape this one 1-0 because defensively they're looking quite solid. They've got 3 clean sheets in their last 4 games. And Aston Villa, I just don't know whether they might drop off a little bit. And it's a difficult match against Southampton. I back them to pick up points against lesser teams, but with Southampton in this sort of form, having just beaten Everton, who are flying so high, I'm backing Southampton to pick up a 1-0 win here. Also on Sunday, we've just mentioned Everton there. They travel to Newcastle. Everton, despite last time out, they what did they do? They lost to Southampton. We just mentioned. They still sit joint top of the table with Liverpool, so they would have taken that every day of the week at the start of the season, wouldn't they? So they'll still be very happy. Newcastle picked up a point at Wolves, which is a good result for them. But we mentioned last week that they're probably hanging somewhere in that, probably too good for a relegation battle, but maybe not good enough for a top half finish. So this is a match Everton will expect to get back to winning ways. How do you see it going?
Yes, I've got a draw here again, to be honest. I think obviously Everton are going to be missing some key players. Lucas Dean suspended, Richarlison suspended, James Rodriguez, a little bit of a doubt around him. Obviously, there's a few other players going in with little knocks and things like that. Their injury list is pretty big at the minute, Everton. You feel like if Everton are going to do, perform, sort of claim a really high finish, you do feel like they need to keep their players fit, because their first 11 is very, very good. But I think the quality after that drops, talking about Alex Iwobi, not picking players out, but players like that, Bernard, they're not, anywhere near the level of the players that come out the team. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem this season. Newcastle, strange team really, aren't they? Obviously they got, well beat by United in their last home game, but then picked up, a good point at Wolves, obviously late on. Obviously they've held Tottenham this season. They've 2-2-2 is their record this season, which I think you'd have to say is pretty good. They're level on points with City. Obviously City have got a game in hand, but I mean, they are a strange team, Newcastle, because they've got, like I say, they've got so many good players, but it's the pattern of their play is strange sometimes. You never really know how they're going to play away from home, how they're going to play at home. Do they drop off? Do they push up? They're a strange team to watch. You never really know what you're going to get. But I just think at home, obviously Everton, the players they might have missing, and the fact that coming in at the back of that Southampton defeat, I don't think a point would be the worst result in the world for Everton, to be honest, because I do think Newcastle will take a lot of points off teams this season. Yes, 1-1 here.
1-1. Yeah, I think Newcastle, they're just another one of these unpredictable teams this season, aren't they? We mentioned earlier the amount of really good results West Ham have got, but Newcastle have got an identical record in terms of wins, draws and defeats so far this season. So perhaps they're not getting the credit they deserve. But as you say, it's difficult to know what to expect of them each week. I've actually gone for an Everton winning this one. I can see them getting back to winning ways 2-1. In this match. You mentioned they might be missing a few players, but I think they've still got, I think Calvert-Lewin has shown, I was a bit sceptical as to whether he was just in a purple patch or whether, he's like a really good player now and will be a Golden Boot contender. I think he's shown signs that he could score a lot of goals, and it wasn't just like a really good start to the season. I think he'll score quite a few goals over the course of the season. Even, just looking at the leap he's got on him, if he does that a couple of times a game, he'll get headed chances, and he's a good header of the ball, so he'll get a few goals from that route alone, I think. So I can see him getting on the score sheet. I can see Everton winning 2-1 in that one. The standout fixture of the game week comes on Sunday afternoon, Manchester United versus Arsenal. Obviously, we always think of it as the defining rivalry of the Premier League era, really. Manchester United coming into it off the back of that incredible 5-0 win over RB Leipzig in midweek, which I don't think anyone saw coming. Arsenal also winners in midweek, but obviously slightly less spectacularly against Dundalk. So talk to me about Manchester United. You must be delighted with that midweek win. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, fantastic. I think the thing that stood out for me the other night, I was watching the game, and early this season, you was worrying about the lack of options. But you look at the bench the other night. The bench at Chelsea was as strong as I've ever seen it. And you're looking at options in the final third at the moment. Obviously, Martial suspended again, but when they have everyone back, suddenly you got a situation where you got Rashford, Martial, Cavani, Greenwood can all play up there. And there's Van der Beek in the 10. Fernandes in the 10. Midfield, you can change two: Pogba, Matic, Fred, McTominay. They've got loads of options now, and I think the squad is looking pretty good. Obviously there's still loads of work to do. They're nowhere near where they want to be. But the 5-0 win over Leipzig, some of the defending from Leipzig was, a little bit scary, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure what they were doing late on, but that's the nature of the beast at the moment, I think. But yeah, the draw with Chelsea was a little bit disappointing. It wasn't a great game, but yeah, it's been a good few weeks for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, the pressure was heaped on him after the Tottenham game ahead of a really tough run of games. They picked up 3 really good results during that run. Big game this weekend. Obviously, I say Martial suspended. Tellez will be out, obviously having coronavirus. Apart from that, I mean, the squad is looking, strong at the moment. Obviously, got some little injuries here, there, and everywhere. But at the back team selection, will he stick with Maguire and Lindelof? Obviously, Tunzebe, he played excellently against PSG, but you do feel like he will stick with Maguire and Lindelof. He does seem to, he does give, he seems to has confidence in them. I'm not entirely sure if it's misplaced, but they have played pretty well in the last few weeks. So it's very interesting. Arsenal, on the other hand, for Arteta, I think the Dundalk game was the ideal situation. You make a lot of changes and you win the game comfortably. So it's not like they're playing Thursday, Sunday, and they had to play all their big players on Thursday because obviously they made loads of changes. But Arsenal lost their last 2 Premier League games, so a good start from Arsenal could suddenly become a poor one if they get beat here. I've got I feel like I keep backing United at the moment, but I do fancy United here. The other times I've backed them, I do feel like I live a little bit more in hope than expectation. But I do think they'll go into this game, let's say, full of confidence. Loads of team selection issues for Solskjaer, good ones. Not like they got loads of players missing. So I've gone United here 2-1.
Yeah, I'll surprise you by saying I've gone exactly the same. I'm backing United this week. Yeah, 2-1. I think it's just they're quite bizarre team. Another one, I feel like I'm repeating myself. A lot of the teams in this incredible season have been in bizarre form, but you mentioned you lose 6-1 at home to Tottenham, and then since then, they've scored 11 goals, conceded 2. They've beaten Newcastle, PSG, RB Leipzig. They've got a point against Chelsea. It's difficult to know what to expect, but that run of form in itself is incredible. So, and there's 3 big games in a row there. This is a 4th, obviously. If they fare as well in this one as they have in their past 3, then there's only one result, really. Arsenal, you mentioned, we've been saying Arteta's got them on the right path. They've made a decent start to the season, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 Premier League games, and the only exception was a narrow home win against Sheffield United, who, as we mentioned earlier, have been pretty poor so far this season. So, United, you look at that run of form, but then you look at the table, and they're 15th in the table with 7 points from 5 games. So it's difficult to know what to expect. Certainly need more points on the board in the Premier League. First and foremost, those Champions League results, obviously standout ones and memorable ones, but they need to start winning Premier League games with more regularity. And like you, I can see them doing that here. It's a big game, obviously. It always is Manchester United versus Arsenal. But I could see Man United coming out on top 2-1, same as you here. Also on Sunday, rounding off the players, Tottenham versus Brighton. If I remember correctly, last season, this was one of the ones which really hurt Pochettino's towards the end of his reign. Brighton did really well against them and won 3-0, I think it was. So there'll be an air of revenge in the air maybe for Tottenham in this match. They lost surprisingly in midweek against Antwerp, but Brighton, obviously, we've mentioned they've been playing well, but they haven't been picking up the points. They're 16th in the table, 5 points from their opening 6 games, which doesn't really do justice to their performances. 1-1 against West Brom last time out, which was a disappointing result at home to a team you'd expect to be battling towards the bottom. So this is a difficult game for Brighton for sure. Tottenham in really good form, other than the Thursday result. Obviously, Son and Harry Kane did it again against Burnley. They didn't play too well against Burnley, but that link-up did it again. It's difficult to see past the Tottenham win in this one for me. Obviously, that midweek result will have halted their momentum a little bit, but still, with them in such good form, they're 5th in the table now, only lost once all season. Brighton really struggling to pick up results, even with decent performances. I've gone for a Tottenham 3-1 win here.
Yeah, I've also gone Tottenham. I've gone 2-0. I think the Antwerp game, Mourinho obviously came after and said he'd have made 11 changes at half-time if he could have done. Obviously made 4, and Dele Alli wasn't very good. And I've said this a few weeks now, Gareth Bale's obviously such a fantastic player, but the fact that the sort of notion that he's going to be the saviour and the player that's going to really fight them to the Premier League title, I think was a little bit, far-fetched, because he hasn't. Last season at Real Madrid, he didn't play a lot, but he has had his problems recently, and I do think he's a different player to the one that obviously they had and the one that won Champions Leagues around Madrid. He has slowed down a little bit, and listen, he'll probably score a hat-trick in this game, and I'll be entirely wrong, but I do still get that feeling, obviously Kane and Son, 2 of the best players in the Premier League, 2 of the best players in Europe for me. Obviously, if they keep them fit, they're always going to have a chance of winning games. But I still think apart from that, defensively, I don't think they're fantastic. Tottenham, obviously midfield, they're pretty good, solid. They're not outstanding, I would say. Obviously, Ndombele's played a lot better this season, but Yeah, Brighton. Interesting press conference from Graham Potter. You know, he was saying that, you know, maybe Brighton are being unfairly judged this season. You know, people are thinking they should be doing better when they're such still really inexperienced Premier League side, you know, in terms of the teams that they're coming up against. And I think I can kind of see what he's saying. I mean, we're thinking, you think they've been around, you know, I do as well, you think they've been around for a few years now, and they are still pretty new at this level. They're still, the fact that they are consolidating and not dropping out of the league is obviously big for them. But yeah, they'll be keen to get points on the board. But like you, I don't think it's going to come here. So yeah, 2-0 Tottenham.
Yeah, I think with Brighton, it's more the way they're playing is really good. They're just not picking up the points. I think, you know, the expectations are sort of set by the standards they're setting themselves on the pitch, and they deserve more than they've got. But yeah, we're both going for Tottenham wins in that one. Monday evening's doubleheader kicks off with a huge game at the bottom. West Brom versus Fulham. Sorry, Fulham versus West Brom at Craven Cottage. Fulham, bottom of the table, 1 point from 6 games so far. West Brom, also one of the 4 winless teams left in the division. They've got 3 points courtesy of 3 draws, including one at Brighton last time out. Fulham lost at home to Crystal Palace, another defeat for them. 1 of 5 from their 6 games this season. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I've plucked for a 0-0 here. I don't know if I've gone 0-0 yet this season. I think I might have done once, but yeah, it's hard to pick a 0-0. But I'm going to go for it here just because, like you say, West Brom draw specialist in recent weeks. Fulham, I just, you know, you do really worry for Fulham. It's so early in the season, but against Palace, I think they'd have seen that game as, you know, a decent chance. I mean, Palace had loads of players out. You know, it was a real mismatched team. You know, a lot of quality still from Palace, but, you know, the midfield was a bit misshaped. You know, obviously Klein came in at right back, hasn't played. Obviously, only just rejoined them, and you felt like that was a good chance to beat Palace because they had some big players out, but, you know, got beat. And West Brom, I think, you know, I think West Brom will draw a lot of games this season. Obviously, they've drawn recently. I do think they'll be one of those sides that struggle to win, but I don't think they'll. You know, you think you'd look at teams gone past and, you know, they lose 21 or 23 times in the Premier League in one season. I don't feel like it's going to be like that. I feel like they're going to draw a lot, like I say, struggle to win. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be a classic, to be honest. Yeah, I've gone 0-0.
See, I've also gone for a draw just because it's too hard to back either of these teams to win, really. But I can see goals. I don't have enough faith in either defence, really, to keep them out. And I think both strike forces have got goals in them. I've gone for 2-2 in this one because, yeah, as I say, it's too hard to back them. I think for Fulham, you go into this match, and even before the season began, and especially now, you'd be viewing this one as probably your best chance all season for 3 points. So I think this is, it sounds stupid to say we're 6 games into the season, but this is verging on must win for them, sort of, because if they win this game, then that'll give them confidence to go on and maybe do better in other games. Whereas if they lose this game, then you're thinking, you know, that's potentially as easy as it will get in the Premier League this season, certainly on paper. No disrespect to West Brom, obviously, but they're one of the fellow newly promoted sides who have also struggled towards the start of the season. So I think this is a big game psychologically for Fulham to get at least something on the board. You know, their only point so far has come away from home. They haven't got anything so far at home. And we know home form is so important for newly promoted sides to stay in the division. Even without fans, you'd expect home form to be important for the newly promoted side. So I think this is a really important one for them. Can see them getting a point on the board, but I just think the defences, and when you've got people like Mitrovic and you've got Pereira at the other end, you know, you've got people like that on the field who have got goals in them. I can see goals in this game, but no winner. I've gone for 2-2 in this one. Also on Monday night is Leeds versus Leicester. Another match between two teams who have had pretty decent starts this season. They'll be happy with them, but the odd poor result thrown in there as well. Leeds obviously last time out beat Aston Villa, which was an incredible result against a team with a 100% record beforehand. Patrick Bamford, a really top-class hat-trick. That was really good. Leicester had 2 really bad results against West Ham and Aston Villa, but have bounced back since with 3 wins in a row across all competitions, including that win at Arsenal, which was really good for them. I think it's their first win at Arsenal since 1973 or something like that. So a huge victory for them. And it's 4th versus 6th. So I was saying they've had some dodgy results this season. They certainly both probably would have taken that at the start of the campaign. I think sitting 4th and 6th at this spell of the season. Another interesting game. I said, to be honest, it's another one I've gone for 2-2 in. I can see goals. I can see a draw. An entertaining Monday doubleheader. I've gone for 2-2 in both games. I think Leeds certainly have goals in them. I think Leicester certainly have goals in them as well. And I can't really separate them. I can see it being an entertaining game between two teams who like attacking football. Yeah, and I can't separate them. 2-2 I've gone for in this one.
Yeah, I've also gone 2-2. 2-2. Yeah, I don't know if you were going to go 2 on this one as well. It's quite a strange one to go the same on. But I think, the Wolves Leeds game, we picked that one out to be really entertaining. That was quite disappointing, wasn't it? So I hope it doesn't follow that suit, to attacking teams. I think obviously the Arsenal game was huge for Leicester. I think if Brendan Rodgers would have written a script before the game of how he wanted it to go, tie it until the second half, bring Vardy on, Vardy scores, and it was just perfect for what he wanted to happen in that game. Obviously, getting Vardy back fit is so important. Madison back fit now. Kinderzunda came off the bench and popped up a really, really good assist in that game. So that will do his confidence no harm at all. And yeah, and Leeds, I've watched quite a bit of Leeds this season. They're very, very enjoyable to watch. That Bamford hat-trick, I think there's been a lot of talk, not just this season, even last season, the Championship. A lot of people saying, is he good enough to lead the line for Leeds in the Championship? Is he good enough to play in the Premier League? He's been around a long time now, Bamford. He's been at a lot of clubs. Obviously, was really, really highly rated, wasn't he, as a youngster at Chelsea, and then obviously moved elsewhere. And he's not really been known as an outstanding goal scorer, but I think his game this season is just so good. The way he runs the lines, his passing ability is really good. It reminds me of Harry. You're not putting anywhere near Harry Kane in terms of quality, but he very much reminds me of the way Harry Kane's obviously one of the best passers in the Premier League for me. You look at his ability to find passes, and I think Bamford has been excellent this season. Entertaining game this one. A lot of players with quality at two teams that will get the ball down and play. So hoping for a good one. Because same as you too.
Both gone for 2-2 in that one. Let's hope that comes to fruition. Okay, thanks, Matt. That rounds up this podcast. You can find previews for all of those games as well as news features. Looking forward to all the Premier League games and many more across Europe and in the Championship. Myself and Matt will be back again next week for our next round of predictions. You can subscribe to this podcast over all the usual channels, and you can also subscribe to us on YouTube to make sure you don't miss a single episode. Thanks for listening and watching, and we'll be back soon.